I'm Salvatore Babones, and I'm here to talk Australia-China relations. Tim Dodd of The Australian is reporting that up to 1,500 Chinese students have been able to circumvent Australia's travel ban on China. Now, they're not breaking any laws. They're taking advantage of a loophole. Australia put a restriction on travel from China to Australia and people who'd been in China the last 14 days. Well, there's one way around that. Just go to another country for 14 days and then come into Australia. These are students who, when the travel ban was first announced, February 1st, thought, you know what, if we go to Thailand, take a vacation for 2 weeks, we can then come into Australia. And they have done that successfully. Pictured here are students waiting in Thailand to come into Australia. Now, this is a terrible idea. Students don't have to have any kind of medical checks while in Thailand. They simply have to go somewhere for 14 days before coming to Australia. That's crazy. This is simply not the way to run public health policy. Yet Australian universities, some of them are actually encouraging it. University of Western Sydney and University of Adelaide are subsidizing students to take Thailand vacations for a couple weeks and then get into Australia. Meanwhile, the government has also announced that it's relaxing restrictions for year 11 and 12 high school students and for research students, that is PhD students, to come into Australia. Now, look, I have nothing against Chinese students. I love my Chinese students. But China's on lockdown. The coronavirus is exploding in South Korea, in Iran, in Italy. And all of these little mini epidemics of the coronavirus are, for the most part, based on one person who somehow was able to travel to the country involved and then started a whole new nucleus of infection going. The idea that thousands of students should be coming from China to Australia is crazy. And the idea that you can just bring them through Thailand, and if you took a Thai vacation for 2 weeks, then you must be fine. That's not public health. That's just lawyerly circumvention of policy. For the Australian government to be allowing this is wrong. For some Australian institutions to be encouraging it is mind-boggling. It makes your brain want to explode. How can this happen? It's just unbelievable. Look for more of this week. No offense to China, no offense to Chinese students, but there's a reason why China's on lockdown. All universities in China are closed. All universities in Hong Kong are closed. Universities are closing all around places like Korea, Japan, Singapore, in order to prevent the spread of coronavirus. In northern Italy, they're canceling soccer matches. And here in Australia, we're encouraging people coming from the heart of the coronavirus epidemic. Okay, we're not allowing people who are traveling ultimately from Hubei province, but there are 6 provinces of China other than Hubei province that have 1,000 confirmed cases each, and the virus is just taking off in those provinces. I mean, this is not only bad policy, this is terrible public health, and someone is going to come in with an infection. And then we'll see what happens. But until then, what a terrible idea. Thank you, Tim Dodd, for reporting on this. Thank you for The Australian for running this story. And everyone else, talk to your representatives and tell them this is a bad idea. Look, I teach in Australia. I'm not Australian, but I teach at the University of Sydney. I don't want coronavirus, and I don't want students in my class who've been exposed to coronavirus. I don't want my own students exposed to coronavirus. This is ridiculous. It's just not a good idea to be encouraging people to travel at a time when every other government in the world is telling people, stay home.